Hello, hello, Roll Tide, everyone, and a happy Thanksgiving to everyone as we're gearing up for the holiday season. And if it's Thanksgiving week, that can only mean one thing on Bleav in Bama. TJ's eyes have gotten wide. He knows what we're talking about. We're talking about one of the biggest and greatest rivalries in college football, the Iron Bowl. Alabama set to take on the Auburn Tigers this coming Saturday. And of course, just a happy Thanksgiving to you, DJ, and happy Iron Bowl week.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, and happy Iron Bowl week to you too. It's gonna be a great week. Looking forward to it.
Going to be a great week. It always is, we think, at least the week leading up to it. It always is. And then sometimes it can surprise us. But of course, one of the best rivalries in college football. We're going to dive into the Iron Bowl and everything. But hey, just a recap on our Austin Peay game. The defense, they got that shutout. They got that shutout they needed.
They did. They did get that shit out. I wouldn't say I was shocked, but I kind of knew it probably would do. That's why I said 3 points.
Fair enough. And then definitely, happy to see them get that done. I think, on the offense side of the ball, Alabama didn't necessarily score as much as either one of us or others were anticipating. Right. And, Saban said that after the game, he the man, he's never satisfied with anything. So it's like in his opening statement, he's like, oh, always great to get a shutout. Wish we could have scored more points. And I'm like, the man can never be happy with a 34-0 win. You just can't be pleased.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's Coach Saban. He always striving for perfection from this guy. So I mean, it's quite understandable. Mm-hmm. More points, but I mean, our predictions now went too off.
Not too far off. So I'm happy with this. I am. We got the shutout that the defenses needed. Offense could have scored a little more, could have laid it on a little bit heavier. But that is okay. I will take the shutout and I will take a win any day of the week, no matter how we get it done. We got to see, Jahmyr Gibbs sidelined for the game with nothing too serious because we want to get him back in great shape for the Iron Bowl. So we got to see really just a breakout game from Jase McClellan. We've been saying all season long that we need them to stick to the run game and we need them to use the run game. And we typically have been referring to Jahmyr Gibbs since he has been kind of that number one guy with Jase kind of helping out, but he really got to step in and be the go-to runner on Saturday. What did you see from him that you were impressed with on Saturday? Because I mean, just a career performance from him.
Yeah, I think I'm just happy Alabama ran the ball. Honestly, gave him more touches. I mean, you got to see how elusive he was. You got to see him run through tackles. I mean, he did a great job. They had a hard time breaking him down a little bit. But I mean, giving him that, I think that kind of showed what they had something to look forward to. Especially this game coming up, they really gonna need it. But he had, I think overall, he had an outstanding game, a real good game.
And I say, aside from him having 2 touchdowns himself, they also, again, he had some breakaway runs and some really great electric runs that, again, got Alabama down the field and then, allowed Bryce to find a wide open Jermaine Burton in the end zone to go on the pass play when they're a little bit closer to actually getting a touchdown. Yeah. So even, we only saw 2 touchdowns from Jase McClellan. The 2 touchdowns themselves aren't necessarily, telling of the actual game that he had and the amount of carries that he had, and just kind of what he was able to do to give some life into the offense, especially early on in that game. So I was super happy to see that for him. He obviously hasn't had an easy ride through Alabama, when you're sitting behind guys like Najee Harris and Brian Robinson. I get it. Of course, those are 2 incredible athletes and guys who are now playing in the NFL. And going on to that part of their career. But, he's waited his turn. And that's what a lot of people find is the case when you go to Alabama. Because, when you go to Alabama, you're all the best. You're all the best football
Right.
players from wherever your high school was or whatever your area was. So you might not get in and be able to play immediately and right away. So happy to see that, for him sticking it out and, really waiting his turn and being able to prove himself really happened on Saturday. And then again, just the defense, impressed with what they were able to do. Like you said, we're not necessarily shocked because it was a talented and it was a good Austin Peay team, and they brought some interesting stuff, especially early on in the game. But definitely had some explosive and electric plays on offense, but when it mattered most, the defense was able to get the stop. Kool-Aid McKinstry getting a great interception. I thought he was
Yeah.
I was hoping he was going to take it all the way back. I thought it was going to be a house call for my guy Kool-Aid, and we were able to get a field goal off of that turnover. So yeah, just all around good play from Alabama, gearing up for a very important game the next weekend. Do what
Right.
you need to do, get your job done on Saturday, but then I'm assuming it was pretty much right back to work on Sunday, or maybe Sunday was the day off, and Monday it was right back to work, because we've got the 87th edition of the Iron Bowl on
Oh
Saturday.
Lord.
A 2:30 kick. It's become pretty standard in recent years that the Iron Bowl is the 2:30 kick on CBS, because that means it's the best and the biggest game in the SEC, and all eyes are going to be on the Iron Bowl on Saturday. We're in a unique situation because, especially in recent years, the Iron Bowl has either determined SEC West ownership, determined a spot in the SEC championship, or even, last year Alabama had already locked up their spot in the SEC championship, but anything during the regular season obviously would cause a shakeup in the college football playoff. As of
Right.
right now, it would take an utter miracle for Alabama to make it to the college football playoff with
Yes,
how
it
things
was.
have panned out. So we're not necessarily looking for that, but of course, Saturday's result not only will impact Alabama's bowl game selection and where they end up playing a bowl game, but if Auburn comes into Bryant-Denny and can pull off an upset, they'll become bowl eligible after losing their head coach, and Cadillac Williams taking over and everything like that. So still a lot on the line and still a lot to play for this coming Saturday for sure.
Right. This is my first time really being involved in a college football playoff. So I really never had that when I played. I was old. I was old. But as far as the playoffs, you never know what happened. At this point, I would like for them playing a big game,
Mhm.
But they look forward to this game, this Auburn game. The Auburn game is really about the grit, who owns the ownership of the state of Alabama. Is what it comes down to. You know, I think this game is probably a wake up call for our guys.
Mhm.
Go out here and play hard for a whole 60 minute, 60 minute ball game. That's what it's about. I hope you guys fired up, because I'm damn sure fired up, because I ain't been in one of these games in a long time. I actually thought about showing up for that game.
You should. You should come hang out with me. I'll be on the sidelines on Saturday.
I'm leaning towards it though. I'm leaning towards it. I haven't been at Bama in a couple of years too. So I think it may be a good idea, just to show my face.
Just a little bit. This Iron Bowl, I mean, it's one of those things. The Iron Bowl, it doesn't matter what the records are. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who's playing for a championship, who could go on to a national championship. When these teams hit the field against each other, everyone is trying to play their best game of the season, because a
Right.
lot of the guys, especially some of the older guys, some of the seniors, a lot of their legacy that they will look back on and that other people will look back on is, how'd you do in the Iron Bowl? How many times did you beat Auburn? How many times were you
Mm-hmm.
able to come away with a win in that game? This is a game that, I mean, it divides families, it puts relationships to the test. I mean, y'all will all
Right.
be, hanging out, eating your Thanksgiving meal on Thursday, And then come Saturday, you might have people that are, I'm going to be watching in here and I'm going to be watching in here because we can't be in the same room. That is what this rivalry is like here in this state. It's 364 days and then still talking trash on that 365th day on game day. That is what this game does to people in this great state. It's one of those things like when you move to Alabama, I've had so many friends that they have moved to Alabama for work that they don't care about Alabama or Auburn, but it's still, one of the first questions they get asked when they move here. They're like, well, are you Alabama or Auburn? And they're like, oh, well, I don't really care. And they're like, no, you need to care. Like whether you care about Alabama or Auburn or not, I need you to pick a side in this battle. And I obviously always tell people to lean towards Alabama. I'm like, if you want us to be cool, do what's best for you, lean towards Alabama. But being a guy who, spent his life in Alabama before going on to play for the University of Alabama, what does this mean to everyone in that locker room, but especially the guys who grow up and go to high school here in Alabama? They play high school football here in Alabama and then get to go on to play for Alabama and Auburn. But just what is this rivalry like for the guys on that team?
I mean, I think for those guys, I mean, they take it like very personal. I mean, it's a personal game, just in just being at home. Everyone, just like you said, at home, it does separate homes. Some people shoot their TVs down in Alabama with shotguns. Have I seen it personally? I can't say if I have, but I may have seen it.
Do I support it? Maybe not.
Maybe not. But I think that it's come down to a whole lot of grit. When you're right, that trash talk lasts all year long till that day hits again. And I remember playing Auburn when they had Cam Newton. That was a different story. They got us. We lost to Auburn one time.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about the Cam Newton days.
But I mean, but you look forward to those competition games like that. And Auburn gonna come. They're gonna have something to play for. They come with. They want to be bowl eligible, just like you mentioned earlier. I think they're playing for a whole lot. So they're gonna get their best. Man, Alabama's coming for the bowl game, really. So I mean, both teams are playing for something. I think they're playing for pride. They're playing for the city. They're playing for the name on the back of their jerseys. They're playing for the families, even though some of the households are kind of separated at the moment. But I think it's gonna be a electrifying game. It's one. What Auburn? Like 4 or 5 hours from Tuscaloosa, I think. I'm not really sure.
I think it's maybe I've done that drive a couple times. I think it's only like 3 or something like that. I've done that drive. I've done that drive when I was not feeling so great the day after the game, if you know what I mean. But then I've also done that drive for work. I had to drive from the state championships in Tuscaloosa one year to Auburn for something the next day, some college football game. And it really wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't as far as I thought. So it's not far from each other whatsoever.
Right. No, I'm with you. I mean, you just, I think if I'm the Alabama team, I'm going that play like this is my last game. Even though they might they're gonna play another one, but I'm going to play like this my last game. I'm gonna go put on a show with which the things they were holding back from earlier in the season. Long teams out, I will put it on that Saturday.
I'm gonna say this is the game to do it for sure. And I get irritated. I get frustrated with my colleagues in the media with questions that they ask in the press conferences this week. We heard from Bryce and Will Anderson on Monday, and everyone was asking them, have you made a decision what you're going to do as far as your career? And if so, this would be your last game at Bryant-Denny. Of course, not the last game of the season, but your last game at Bryant-Denny. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, y'all know they're not going to answer that question. Like y'all know better than that. Y'all have been doing this long enough to know that they're not answering that question. But they were both and everyone else that we spoke to as well, harping on the rivalry, but they were both very quick to be like, I'm not worried about that. I'm not focusing about that. And, if I'm Bryce Young or Will Anderson, I'm not necessarily worried about the next decision I'm making, because I think I know
Right.
the next decision that they're making and they should be in good shape. But they're like, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the game that we've got on Saturday, because this rivalry means a lot to the people in this program, the people in this state, the people from, the university. Like, I'm worried about this Auburn football game, and that is it. And that's how it should be, because that's how Nick Saban or any of these coaches, that's how they coach their guys and they teach their guys. It doesn't matter who you're playing. The next game is the most important game. But of course, the Auburn game always has, a little bit more at stake, as far as the rivalry, bragging rights, and everything like that. Last year's game gives me severe anxiety just thinking about it, and we know what happened. Like, we know the end result, and I still get stressed out thinking about it, and I get exhausted thinking about it. Because you want to know something that I hate about college football?
What you got?
When you get into overtime, how you have to change end zones every overtime. Now, for the nice, in shape gentlemen on the field who get to kind of walk and or jog from each side, because we're on like the people on the field schedule, great.
Right.
For everyone in the media that is shooting that game, we're running back and forth, because especially at the Iron Bowl or like big games like that, there's so many of us. If you're not running, you're not getting a good spot, and you're not getting a good shot of whatever happens. So in that game last year, I ran all of us did, all the media people ran more yards than anyone on either one of those teams combined, because I'm telling you, we were at least 300 yards, and I cannot remember for the life of me if we started overtime in the end zone that we like finished regulation in, but I don't think that we did. For some reason, I feel like they were like, oh nope, gotta go down there, and I was like, of course we do. So I ran like 300 or 400 yards in overtime while trying to like shoot it, while trying to like have my camera. By, the second time, the student section was like cheering for us. The pants I was wearing that day were falling down. They weren't made for running. It was a disaster. So that game, just the overtime alone, don't laugh at me. I was wearing tennis shoes. I was ready to go. Okay. I was not like, it's not like I was in heels or something and couldn't run. No, but the pants I was wearing were not made for running, and I was struggling. Okay.
Wow.
I was having a hard time that day. And on top of the fact, I'm stressed and anxious that my team that's supposed to be in the college football playoff is almost about to lose to Auburn. And I'm trying to be calm, cool, and collected because I have to be impartial on the sidelines.
Wow. That's a tough job. That will give you anxiety. Jesus.
It does give me, literally, the final 2 minutes of regulation before Bryce has, his version of the drive to end up tying the game. The final 2 minutes, we're in the end zone in front of the student section, and you can feel them creeping down. Like, you can feel the students getting closer to the field to rush the field. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this today. I was like, I had to wake up early. I am tired. I don't want to get hit and knocked around on the field. We were literally all like, just go straight, just straight down. But then obviously, Bryce ties it, and we send it into overtime, and you could feel in the stadium kind of the momentum kind of fizzle away a little bit from the Auburn student section. I was like, okay, thank God. I was like, now, if they had won in 4 overtimes, though, I feel like the field rushing would have been even worse than I would have liked to imagine. But that's not the point here, because that's not what happened. Alabama won in 4 overtimes in the Iron Bowl last year. Something that I was talking about, earlier this week. We say all the time, offense obviously is key. Bryce Young having that drive last year to tie it up, and then of course him finding John Mechie in the 4th overtime to actually win the game. Offense playing the huge role. But I was talking about earlier this week, we say all the time, defense wins championships, and that game is not a championship, but it certainly is a game for bragging rights. And that's what we saw last year, with a final score of 24-22. I think a lot of people maybe would forget it was a 7-0 Auburn ball game at the half and 10-10 going in to overtime. And if you had told me, he hadn't won yet, but the then Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Bryce Young, if you had told me that we'd be down 7-0 at half and it would only be a 10-10 ball game at the final when we had seen such prolific offense from Alabama all season long, I mean, it was not on my bingo card, that's for sure. So the defenses stepped up last year 100%, and I think that's going to have to be the case for Alabama this year as well as Auburn, of course, but we're talking about Alabama on this show. You're like, that's period.
That's
period.
right. That's right.
Yes, we are. He was like, you see the jersey in this picture behind me? Yes, that is who we are talking about.
That's the SEC championship right there. So,
I know. See, you got me. You got my work coming out because I've got to talk Alabama and Auburn for work. So I gotta talk everyone. I gotta be on everyone's side. It's okay.
I understand. You gotta do
it's okay. It's okay. But definitely gonna be interested to see what happens this Saturday. Looking at this Auburn football team and what Alabama needs to do. It's kind of similar to what what Alabama needs to do to stop Auburn is kind of similar to what Auburn might have to do to stop Alabama. Their passing game is not the strong suit of their offense. They've got Tank Bigsby, who is an incredible playmaker, as well as Jarquez Hunter. And then Robbie Ashford, their quarterback now, he can throw the ball, but he's an incredible runner in the first place. So he can get a lot done on the ground on his own. So stopping the rush is definitely going to have to be something that, our defensive guys are really tuned into and focused on going forward. I don't know what kind of Auburn stuff have you seen this season? Have you seen them play at all, or have you just
I'm more of an Alabama guy. I don't really watch Auburn that much.
I don't really pay attention to Auburn.
Have I got a little highlight of them? I see a little highlights of them. They're not a bad ball club. I mean, it'll take a little more year or two from the develop. Now, will they be good in this game? Nah, who said they won't throw the ball more in this game? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say they're one dimensional because I mean they kind of are. But I mean they're not a bad ball club. I think they just need a little bit of a boost. Now don't boost them, beat us, but boost.
Don't take the boost now.
yeah. But I mean they're good. I think it's gonna be a good game. Like it has been in the past couple of years. But I think the thing is that when you play Alabama, everyone's gonna bring their best game. For them, it's Auburn. Auburn's gonna act like Alabama is their championship game for them. That's what that's how they're gonna play. They're gonna play hard. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna play a longer. Hopefully, they'll play a good amount of time where they kind of wear down a little bit and we kind of take over. But they got a good ball club. I'm not gonna count them out. They run the ball pretty well. I think that what Auburn does, they do have a little bit of play action. They do have that. But I think Alabama have all the games they play. I think they're the guys on defense that's smart enough to see it. I think that for us on offense, passing the ball, Alabama side passing the ball, we're gonna be able to pass the ball too. A lot, of course, like we've done all year, of course.
Yes.
But I mean, hopefully we see more of the run game. I think that we need to emphasize more of the run game in this game. We seen it last week when they played, but now we should see against this team. Like hopefully like 50-50, hopefully. But I think overall, looking at both teams, I think it's gonna be a real physical game.
It should be. I think, like you said, we say this all the time, and we say it, but we've said it specifically with this rivalry matchup. You're going to get Auburn's best football game of the season. And specifically, I was talking with Andy Burcham down at Auburn, their voice of the Auburn Tigers earlier this week, preparing for the Iron Bowl. And he said it best. He's like, this team has nothing to lose. They have absolutely nothing to lose, and they are playing for everything. Football aside, they've been through a lot this season, losing your head coach halfway through the season, a quarterback battle just kind of all over the place that kind of got fizzled out when Robbie Ashford made his first start against Mizzou. But then losing Brian Harsin, him getting pushed out, Cadillac Williams taking over, and almost having this resurgence of, Auburn football. Everyone's now excited about Auburn football, and you've seen a fan base that has rallied around a team that was 3-6 when at the time, and they were actually, excited to see Auburn football. They were excited to cheer for their head coach, when he was announced in the stadium and that kind of stuff. So what they've done the past few weeks, not only I think has it looked like they've played a little bit better, but they've just got a better mindset, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Andy said it best. They have nothing to lose. They're going in there. They're going into Bryant-Denny Stadium as, I believe, 22-point underdogs. Alabama's favored by at least 20 points. No one is necessarily nationally giving Auburn a chance in this game. Again, you've said it, I'll say it. I'm never going to count them out, because especially in the Iron Bowl, we have seen the craziest things happen. Last year's game, just one example of many that we could go into. So I'm never going to count any team out, let alone a team in a rivalry game where you're going to bring your best energy and your best football. But no one's given them a chance realistically. They're 22-point underdogs, but they have nothing to lose. Like, that's just the simplest way to put it. They have a bowl game or bowl eligibility to compete for. They have, like you were touching on, the pride and the joy and the bragging rights that comes with not only winning the Iron Bowl, but doing that with Cadillac Williams leading the team now, a guy who of course is known for a play that he had in an Iron Bowl game. I feel like I've got it in my special. We're hearing Go Crazy Cadillac, ever since he took over, but specifically this week leading up to the Iron Bowl when he had one of those historic plays. So with him leading them, they've got a different mindset and a different mentality. And I think Alabama, they cannot underestimate this team at all. Not that I think that they're going to, because I don't think that they necessarily do with anybody, but especially with the bragging rights on the line. I think it being in Tuscaloosa and it being at Bryant-Denny is obviously in our favor, because I'm telling you, Auburn Jesus is real. That stadium,
yes, he is.
That stadium at Jordan-Hare, I'm telling you, I thought it was just Gus Malzahn, and then I was proved to be mistaken. Auburn Jesus is real. So I am happy the game is in Tuscaloosa this year.
I know we got Nick Saban though.
You're right. You're right. I know what some people would equivalate to Jesus himself.
Of course. Hey, trust me. I have trust me. They probably read about Coach Saban more than they read about
our Lord and Savior Nicholas Lou. That is how I refer to him from now on. I love that.
That is so true. People joke about it all the time in college, but we were like, I bet people watch more Alabama game than they read the Bible.
They probably do.
I think it's a fact.
They probably do. They probably do, because I'm like, there's obviously a decent amount of Alabama fans that definitely go to church, but I would be willing to bet that the majority of them, or maybe not even majority, but like I would be willing to bet there's more that watch Alabama football on Saturday that do not wake up and go to church on Sunday than others.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Now, if Alabama played on a Sunday, I said, I bet you there'll be more attendance at that game.
Yes. For our Lord and Savior Nicholas Lou to show us the scripture of college football.
For sure. The scripture of winning. And Genesis 1, we did the 4-quarter program.
Not Genesis.
Literally, this is how it all began. And he does the hand gestures like this.
I'm familiar with the hand gestures. When you get that man going, when you get him going with the hand gestures.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. He always does. He's bad for doing that hand gestures. I'll be like, you don't even see him talk. It's just more hand gestures talking to
you. You just see him going, and you're like, oh, he's not happy about something over there. I don't know but he's not happy about something. I was looking through some video for something for my special this week, and I can't remember who he was chewing out on the sidelines that I had a video of, but I was like, I don't want to be on the receiving end of that. I was
you definitely don't.
No, you do not. Not with Coach Saban. And especially not in this game, because he's going to be like, do you know what we're playing for? Like, get it together. I need Coach
Exactly.
Saban to tell me to get it together. Maybe that's what I need in life. I need him being like, Olivia, get it together.
Definitely good coach. Definitely good coach and a good life coach. I tell you that. He gives the great advice. I mean, that's
I
why
can
I've
imagine.
learned from college, and he tell you advice about how to carry yourself as a young man, how you carry yourself around people. Yeah, the thing about Alabama, they have great where they teach you about how to talk to the media and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they teach you how to carry yourself, and that's why I really love that. They really taught me my people skills when as I was going through Alabama. Now, when you're a freshman, the first thing he says, you can't talk because one guy stood up with everybody.
I was just talking about this with people at work last night, because I can't remember we were looking for a sound from someone, and the press conference was really short. And so my coworker was like, oh, that makes me nervous. Like, either he didn't give good answers or something like that. So a group of us got started talking about it. And I was like, or maybe, and then someone was listening to something else. And one of the guys, he was like, you can't tell me he didn't read that off a script. He was like, you cannot tell me that he did not either have that memorized, like, and ingrained in his head. And I was like, you think Nicholas Lou, you think Coach Saban just lets these boys go in front of the media unprepared? No. And that's why I said, I was like, why do you think we never hear from freshmen? You do not hear from freshmen. Like, they do not
Because
let
they
the
can't
freshmen
talk.
talk. No, I was like, they do not let the freshmen talk. The only case they would let freshmen talk is if it is the starting quarterback, which we typically do not have freshmen starting quarterbacks at the University of Alabama. That is the only time that we are going to hear from a freshman. And even then, it's probably not going to be until like week 4 until they can actually get them trained and prepared for the media interviews, which I greatly appreciate, because again, I'm going to say it helps y'all, but it helps us too, because when you put someone, I mean, some of them are great, and some of them are not so great. Some of these high school kids that I have to go interview, and you put a microphone in their face, oh no, they are
You be surprised what come out of their mouth.
you'll either be surprised what comes out or the lack thereof. You'll get you just signed to play football at the University of Alabama. How excited are you? It's really exciting. And like, that's it. And I'm like, perfect. Like, that's how this is gonna go. Perfect. That is how this is gonna go.
But some of these kids don't even have the skills yet. I mean, it just depends on where you are. Some kids have all the little TV skills.
Yeah.
Because they have to practice at them. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I had to practice at my people skills. I had my interview skills, which they got better over time. Thank God. I used to hate interviews.
Oh my gosh.
I used to hate interviews. I don't want to talk to you. I got good. I need questions. Like, let me see questions.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Can I get a sneak peek of the questions? Can you
I'm telling you, it'd be the best time to get the sneak peek of the question. Like, can I see it before you even ask me? So I can think about it for a second.
That's like my favorite. We bring in high school football coaches for our like football show on Friday nights, and they're like, not even like, can I see the questions? But they're just kind of like, what are you gonna ask me about? I was like, what do you think I'm gonna ask you about? Your season. I want to say, I'm not gonna like, what do you think I'm gonna ask you about? Like, your game last Friday. Like, what do you mean? I was like, this is a football show. Like,
you got to prepare for the unexpected.
I know. They're expecting me to drop bombs on our high school football coaches on Friday night, and I'm like, that's just not what I'm here for. That's just not what I'm doing.
It happens every now and then. Like, what? How you feel about one of your players? You be like, I'm not playing who? How you feel about this? Like Devontae, like who? What?
Who?
Because you know, that they don't. Sometimes they don't know all their players' names, and that's what gets them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
that's what messed them up. Like, who you asking about?
It's like, I need numbers. I need a number. Like, if you can give me a number. We were joking because earlier this week, Saban, he mentioned Tank Bigsby by name, but he only referred to Robbie Ashford as the quarterback. And I was just like, well, honestly, they got so much going on down in Auburn. I wouldn't even be and like, Nick, my guy, he's not in his 20s anymore. He maybe couldn't remember right off the bat, but like they got so much going on down there. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't know his name. He's a good quarterback. Moving on. Like Nick Saban is like, I don't need to know their names. I just need to beat them.
That's it.
That is all I care about. I don't need to know their names. I know the name of their head coach to give him a handshake and to say hey to him, and that's all I need to know.
That's all you know. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you out here fast. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh, we got on a tangent about media somehow. I'm not even sure how we got there, but we won't worry about it. Back to the Iron Bowl.
All right, I guess let's go. Let's go on
back
back.
to the Iron Bowl. We're gonna circle back. I am excited to see another Iron Bowl. Excited to see what I believe will be a good game, competitive at least for the beginning. I'm thinking maybe Alabama can kind of step it up and kind of take off later in the game and get a little bit more of a lead and that kind of stuff, but expecting a good competitive game, expecting both teams to run the ball. I know that Auburn will be running the football. With Cadillac Williams now in charge.
Oh yeah.
Leaning on, Tank Bigsby and even Robbie running some, Jarquez Hunter and those guys. Auburn will run the football on Saturday. So that is something that Alabama's defense, of course, is studying all week long in film, and we'll have to look ahead to on Saturday and be able to stop. And hopefully, I'm hoping Alabama will do the same. Hopefully we get Jahmyr Gibbs back. Hopefully he will be healthy and ready to go on Saturday. And if not, or even if we do have him, we've got Jace McClellan as well that we can rely on, maybe give him the ball a little bit more. And I'm just excited to see another Iron Bowl, how another Iron Bowl is going to pan out. I say that with such muted tone because the Iron Bowls I've been to, man,
Hear the iron in your voice.
Ooh, I think most of no, that's a lie. I think most of the ones I went to when I was in college were good, except my senior year, Auburn beat us in Auburn. But that was the year that everyone joked that like the Iron Bowl didn't matter because then Alabama went on to win the national championship. So it's like, well, that was the 2nd and 26 year. But
okay.
So it was, yeah. So it was so it was Jalen's Iron Bowl that did not necessarily go well. And then, but it was the 2nd and 26 national championship. So everyone joked like, oh, well, the Iron Bowl didn't even matter. Like, it's fine, which of course everyone wanted to win in that game. But, we still won a national championship, so I'll take it. And then I was at the 20 whatever game in Auburn when they rushed the field. And then last year's game when they almost rushed the field. So let's just hope for a nice, comfortable Alabama lead that Olivia doesn't have to stress. Because last year, I'm telling you, I'm a CBS affiliate for my station, so we have the game on our channel, and so when the game is on, we have a show that goes on right after the SEC on CBS game, but it obviously gets cut and preempted depending on how long the game goes. So at halftime, I'm supposed to, and I was down there by myself because my sports director had a wedding that weekend. So I'm down there by myself. And at halftime, I call my news director at the time, and it's 7-0 Auburn. I am stressed. Not only do I not have the highlights that I actually need because it's only a 7-0 ball game, but I am stressed about Alabama football. And I call him, I go, Paul, I don't know if I can do this A block hit. I don't know what we're going to be able to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the SAT truck in time. Like, I'm going to have to be filming the game. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. I was like, I am stressed out, man. I was like, I do not want to see Alabama lose this football game. And of course they did not. So, let's maybe not take it to 4 overtimes this year, shall we?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're ready to get that game over quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, run the ball, run the clock. Let's go. Let's get the wise words of Chris Stewart at the end of the Texas A&M game. Let's get out of here. I want to, but I don't want it to be close like it was in the Texas A&M game. I just want to leave. But let's get out of here. Run the clock, run the ball, and let's go. The Iron Bowl, the 87th edition of Alabama and Auburn meeting on the gridiron, 2:30 at CBS on Saturday. What are we thinking score prediction wise for the Alabama Crimson Tide?
I guess I have to go first this time, huh?
I'll let you go first.
All right. We'll go 28-14.
I was gonna go 35-14. Alabama.
Okay. I remember you said it now.
I know. What did it? So neither one of us actually. I said they were gonna score 7 last week, and I think you had them getting a field goal. So neither of us had the shutout. But we did have the low. I didn't want to jinx it.
We did have the points though, because I was like 30, like 31, something like 30
something.
3.
Yeah, it was something close. I'm gonna say. I think maybe I was like 42, and they got like 34.
Yeah,
close enough.
Close enough. I mean, I was a little bit close enough. All right, see,
I know.
Come on now.
I just in the shutout. I just didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want to give them too much credit.
You should have said it.
I know.
You should have said. You
should have stuck with it. Well, and I got when I was watching part of it, and they went for it several times, but then when they went to kick the field goal, and I don't know what happened to that ball that they missed, but Austin Peay missed this field goal or whatever. But I literally was like, if they kick the field goal, they cannot get 7 points, and that is what I called. And if I was like so mad, I was like, no. But I'll go 35-14 for the Iron Bowl. You're going 28-14. I don't hate it. I'm going to say pretty much the same. I'm going to say just the one score.
Yeah.
Just the one score.
Yeah, we're right there. We're right there. It's all right. But 28-14, I predict.
I like it.
What's going to happen? 35-14, you said?
Yep, 35-14 in the 87th Iron Bowl.
I'm definitely gonna put this in my notes now, so next week.
I know. You're gonna remember this. I know.
All right, cool. I was just making sure.
Well, we are, of course, getting ready for the Iron Bowl. Very excited about it. Again, 2:30 on CBS on Saturday. Again, just a roll tide for Iron Bowl week, and a happy Thanksgiving to you, DJ, and everyone listening. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Roll tide. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Miss Olivia. Let's go.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.